There was an interesting thing where a few years ago, I was wondering whether it was time to have a graphics engine that would be a more general purpose tool, like RenderMan, like the traditional offline tools that might have a lifespan of 10 years or more. And I was initially pursuing something like that, but it turned out that as we made some of the decisions for trying to be a higher speed game, trying to push some of our polygon levels higher, that we did wind up going in and specializing a lot more and winding up with something that's not a general purpose tool. And I'm completely sure that there's another generation that we want to go in terms of researching the kind of infinite granularity of geometry like we've done with textures on here, and I'm very confident that I want to do at least a research engine there, and hopefully it works out as something that can be a product depending on how the hardware evolves for the next generation. And that's going to be clearly a hybrid engine at this point, where we know just from what we do know the hardware can be constrained by, there's going to be hybrid aspects to it that are both rasterization and possibly raycasting on there. So it would seem that there's likely potentially another generation after that where everything settles down into a more unified form. So I don't have nearly the clear cutoff point that I thought I had a couple years ago as far as how things are evolving on there. We are looking at interesting ramifications towards the tail end of hardware evolution and different things, and you're looking 10 or 20 years out. But no, there's no real near-term cutoff that I can say there's nothing interesting left to be doing here. To make a game look like WALL-E isn't as incredibly far off as a lot of people might think on there. A lot of what goes on into film production right now is the last 1% of a solution, where it is looking at every frame pixel by pixel and trying to find the objectionable little tiny things on there, that you could make a game that looks 99% of something like that in the easily foreseeable future. It's not something that we have to look 10 years off. If you were willing to just make a few of the corner cuts to not be exactly perfect in different ways, you could do things that are pretty representative of that. Even today, you could do things that give the kind of walk by the office look where you can't tell whether that's a game or a movie in some cases, and it's as you get closer and closer to it till you get to the point where you're freeze framing, putting your nose on the screen and looking at it and saying, there's a tiny bit of aliasing here, or this thing did not have the exact right depth selection or something. And the movies will always have that final little bit that's different, because they will spend a half hour or 2 hours or something on a frame versus 30 milliseconds, something that you have to wind up in a game. But it's a testament to the exciting power that we have in gaming that we are getting as close as we currently are to that.